أهلا بكم مجددا في الجلسات الحوارية لليوم الثالث والأخير من مؤتمر التميز التشغيلي. وقبل أن نبدأ هذه الجلسة من باب الحق والعدل والإنصاف، علينا أن نوجه تحية شكر وتقدير لكل الحاضرين لجلسات هذا المؤتمر منذ بدايته حتى اليوم. يمكن كثير من اللقاءات والمؤتمرات اللي تختص ببعض الموضوعات الخاصة أو المتخصصة أو النخبوية لا يتوقع منها حضور أو بعد جماهيري، لكن ما شهدناه خلال اليومين الماضيين ونشهد اليوم من هذا الحضور هو أمر يستحق التحية والتقدير، فشكرا لكم جميعا. أكرر التنويه على الهاشتاج الموجود في تويتر مؤتمر التميز التشغيلي، مع الشكر أيضا لكل من غرد وكتب في داخل هذا الهاشتاج. الجلسات متواصلة معكم. الجلسة القادمة التحول الرقمي، الابتكار، التقنية. هذه المفردات لا تكاد تسمح حديثا عن المستقبل ويخلو منها، ولا تكاد تسمح حديثا عن طموحات الواقع ويخلو منها. لم تعد شيئا كماليا أو إضافيا ولا حتى هامشيا، بل أصبحت عناصر رئيسة لنجاح أي مشروع أو عمل أو منظومة. وأجزم أن المنشأة التي يمكن أن تعمل بمعزل عنها لن تستطيع أن تنجح أو تذهب بعيداً في مجالات تطويرها. الجلسة القادمة تأتيكم تحت عنوان دور التحول الرقمي والابتكارات في التميز التشغيلي للمنشآت، وأدعوكم معي إلى الدعوة والترحيب بالمتحدثين في هذه الجلسة. رحبوا معي بالرئيس التنفيذي الرقمي في شركة سابك في المملكة العربية السعودية المهندس مرهف المدني. رحبوا معي بنائبة رئيس مركز التميز في نوماك في الإمارات العربية المتحدة الدكتورة لنا الشعار. رحبوا معي بالعضوة المنتدبة لمركز الثورة الصناعية الرابعة في المنتدى الاقتصادي العالمي من المملكة العربية السعودية الدكتورة مريم نوح. رحبوا معي بنائب رئيس أول لتقنية المعلومات والتحول الرقمي في الشركة السعودية للكهرباء المهندس خالد الغامدي. واستقبلوا معي أيضا بكثير من الترحاب مدير هذه الجلسة، نائب أول للرئيس ومدير موقع شركة وورلي الهندسية في المملكة العربية السعودية المهندس عيسى عقيلي. أرجو لكم أن تقضوا وقتا مفيدا وممتعا ونافعا مع أحداث هذه الجلسة. مهندس عيسى أنقل الصوت إليك، تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. I would like to welcome the team here. It's a great leaders in the kingdom joining me today, and we'll learn all together from their great experience. Before I just introduce my team, I would like just to highlight a couple of points. I was reflecting in the last 2 years that's, I think, impact everybody globally and in the kingdom. And in the last 2 years, we noticed a real milestone in the digital transformation almost in every area we live. We felt it with the COVID-19 situation. We felt it, lived it, and learned a lot of things. And we challenged ourselves, and every organization in the kingdom, they did an outstanding job, starting from the health, going to the Ministry of Interior, going to Ministry of Communication, going to the Ministry of Justice. If you see our life today, everyone, you will not find a single person in the kingdom without a smartphone. And all these things help to help us and help the industrial of the digital transformation to grow more and more demand, and our expectation from this sector, not only from our day-by-day activity or the customer activity is limited, but it's across a lot of things. A lot of a great job done in the background that a lot of people are not aware about it. A lot of people work during the COVID and during tough time, and we never highlight this. One of them is WCC, SABIC, Aramco, manufacturing companies, operation company like Nomac, R&D, what they are doing in R&D and bringing more people on ground and help the community and the corporate to do more. And I will not forget SEC, what they did during that time. Every one of us felt a positive impact to our life. With that, I would like to introduce my team. I will start with Morhaf Madani. And Morhaf Madani is bringing a great experience, a long experience. He was early engaged in the digital from day one, his work in SABIC, and he continued building this capability and learning until he been nominated by SABIC to be the Chief Transformation Officer, and I'm sure today he will share a lot of great things. Moving to Dr. Lana Sha'ar, a great leader, start from academic to manufacturing and now in operation, adding great value. We start to see a lot of good job from her company on ground and walking the talk. Moving to the R&D, and great what they did in the G20 and also in many areas, okay, where we can see the King Abdulaziz Scientific City drive a lot of things on ground and push a lot of technology to the manufacturing and operation in the country. Finally, I will highlight what SEC, and we have a great leader here, bringing two experience with him, Aramco and SEC together, and trying to drive a customer experience in addition to operation excellence, where I don't think that anyone will be happy if the electricity, we lost electricity for a few minutes. And they have a huge pressure to the public, to the country, to make sure they are doing a great job and utilizing this digital solution. Going back to how we can start, I will not be the best guy to deal with these great leaders here, but I will do my best to do that. And I will start with Morhaf, Engineer Morhaf, and ask him how you, from your experience, how you see the digital transformation help the industry, and how you link digital transformation with operation excellence.
Thank you Thank you. It's a very important question, and I think very much related to the topic. But before that, I would like really to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity today to share our experiences and knowledge on what we have been doing. Digital transformation is a key enabler when it comes to operation, and specifically helping to improve reliability in a big way, especially in a manufacturing company like SABIC. The asset healthcare or predictive maintenance is a key enabler where we improve our operation. We have done a lot of projects in this space, and we have seen the fruits coming up. We are still in the journey. There is a lot of focus. How do we predict failures way before it happens? In certain cases, it reached 1 year of anomalies appearing on certain key equipment, critical equipment within the plant, that there is something changing, versus the usual control room alerts that comes as a threshold where you don't have that much of a time to act. So certainly, digital transformation is a key enabler. We look at it from benchmark point of view. It can contribute up to 30% of improving lost tonnage from manufacturing.
Thank you, Engineer Morhaf. And I will add a small part and ask Engineer Khalid how you see from SEC and Aramco experience the real impact of the digital transformation to operation excellence within your organization, and if you highlight some challenges that you are facing or you have been able to resolve it during that time you are working with Aramco and also with SEC. I know that you are not speaking in behalf of Aramco, but we cannot leave this opportunity without asking you that.
Thank you, Isa. At first, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Asad Allah sabakum kul khair jami'an. And it's of great honor and pleasure to be with this distinguished panelists talking about two critical and important subjects, digital transformation and operational excellence. Personally, I'm very proud to be in this very unique and critical and timely event, OPEX KSA. And also we are proud as Saudi Electricity Company to be a conference partner in this because we strongly believe in the importance of both subjects, be it the digital transformation or the operational excellence. The Saudi Electricity Company, as the largest integrated utility company in the MENA region, and we have a fast operation in each and every corner of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it goes without saying that operational excellence is so critical for us to ensure reliability and safety and integrity of our operation, but also to ensure that we are meeting the customer expectation in terms of the services that we provide. And to us, digital transformation is an integral part of that. Actually, I view both digital transformation and operational excellence two sides of the same coin. And there are several operational excellence or OE frameworks or models that are available in the industry, but there are four key components in the operational excellence model that are common between the different frameworks, namely the processes excellence, also the customer experience, the human capital including the culture, as well as the organization and the ecosystem. And if we look to the digital technologies, be it the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the IoT, edge computing, and the like, they are all centered around the productivity improvement, efficiency, creating insights from the data that you have in the operation. And this is very critical and important to drive performance. And since I am coming from the power industry, we strongly view digital powers operational excellence.
Thank you, Engineer Khalid. I will take what we heard from Engineer Murhaf and Engineer Khalid, and I will direct the questions to Dr. Lena. And you are coming from a different angle, okay? You were a service provider to SEC and to SABIC and to Aramco. And from a service provider point of view, how you see the digital transformation and operation excellence, and if you can highlight how you can measure the success stories or how you can see the impact, make it tangible. Because one of our challenges always that to see a tangible stuff in our investment, because digital transformation required a huge investment, and the leaders and the owners and the shareholders always ask, why I have to spend this money, okay, to spend something I cannot touch it immediately, because it's not something really we can hold it. If you can highlight some points, and from your experience in NOMAC, and if you can share some briefest story, will be great.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much for the invitation. First of all, we need to all agree first that digital transformation or operational excellence are not a project that we succeed or we fail in. It's a journey that we need to take. And for this reason, it's very important that we understand exactly what do we require from digital transformation. It's not about the technology that we use, but it's how we're going to use it and how we're going to generate the right value to the organization or to the customers that we're serving. So like you said, I don't know if anybody knows, but NOMAC is the operation and maintenance arm of Aqua Power. And today we operate many plants, and we serve our customers and our communities. And it's very important that we have a reliable and available and efficient operation in order to ensure that we have an uninterrupted power supply for the community in terms of power and also water. So digital transformation or digital technology has been a key impact or solutions that we're using today. Since 2017, we've actually embarked on using digital solutions where we monitor our assets in terms of detecting anomalies or detecting shortfall in the performance and giving guidance using our analysts and our team to ensure that the efficiency of the plants are running at its full capacity. This is something that we have highlighted and we've been doing, but at the same time, as Aqua Power is evolving and growing, we needed to make sure also that we succeed. We become more nimble, we become more flexible, and with this, we have to adopt digital transformation. And with this, we have looked at many solutions. We have done a lot of ideation workshops. We have talked to our customers to understand exactly where the key issues are, and we are in the process of implementing our IoT platform to collect all the data, to analyze the data, and to ensure that our customers are. Today, how you measure it is by looking at the customer satisfaction. You ensure that the value that they have generated is back. There is an ROI that we have to look into. There is a revenue growth. We have to look at how we can enhance the plants in terms of avoiding any failures before it happens. We basically have to ensure that the value is being generated. Adoption is key to measuring the success. If people are not using the solution to the way it should be and enabling them to be able to make decisions faster and wiser, this is the key. So from this perspective, all of that leads to the success of the digital transformation.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Lana. And we heard from operation companies, utilities, and manufacturing, and we heard also from service provider. I'll move to Dr. Mariam and ask her, from what you heard from our colleagues here, okay, how you see that the R&D, the academic, and the empowerment of the country today with sending a lot of talent outside of the kingdom and in the kingdom, support them, to educate them and make them part of the ecosystem of the digital transfer. How you see that and how you can help, and what kind of ideas that you can share that with our colleagues here and also the entities here.
Thank you, Isa. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. To link with what my colleagues said previously regarding digital transformation and operational excellence, it's really the key of, as they said, it's two sides of the same coin. In order to excel in whatever operation you're doing, in whatever industry, nowadays it is really key to integrate critical new technologies into your operation process. And that integration can happen by either identifying old processes or processes that takes time or is costly, and try to find alternative solutions that can accelerate the production, for example, or reduce the cost. Now, the integration of the new technologies or technologies of the future, like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and even the metaverse nowadays. So how do you integrate these kind of new novel technologies into old processes that people have been used to doing the task in a certain way? So it requires, first of all, awareness of the technology, and then upskilling of the existing talent or reskilling of the existing talent into accepting and adopting that new technology. And in order to do that, to bridge the gap between technologies developed within academia or within research labs and bringing them to the industry, to the business, to the factories. There is a really high importance on investing on R&D, especially research that is focused on the higher level of the TRL, the technology readiness level, and also investing in entrepreneurship, small, medium enterprises. So these are the entities that are willing to take the risk to do agile development in order to come up or create with new solution to the existing problems that we have. Now, within King Abdulaziz City for Science and Technology, we have a long history of investing into the R&D sector. And in the recent years, there has been a new program that was created that focused on investing in the talent, in the human capital. By providing a specialized training program to the young scientists and engineers in Saudi Arabia in order to train them in key topics or future technologies that we predict that it's going to be of need to the kingdom. For example, in autonomous vehicles, in aeronautics, in utilization of data from satellite that can actually be analyzed and processed in a way that can solve existing issues like underground water, for example. So in the past 7 to 8 years, through that program, we were able to invest in more than 200 young Saudi scientists and engineers and prepare them to get accepted to top schools around the world, top 30 universities, to get their master's and PhD degrees in these specialized high-tech programs. So this is like a summary of how R&D can help by upskilling and investing in the human capital.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Mariam. I will take what we hear from the team and ask Engineer Khalid, seeing what's going on, and every good opportunity or every good improvement always associated with a real risk, and risk and opportunity always together. And I would like you to highlight what kind of risk and opportunity we have in the digital transformation during taking the companies or our utilities and manufacturing to the next level.
Well, as my colleague said, digital transformation is a journey. And in such journey, we expect ups and downs, which is normal for any transformation. I would strongly recommend that we allow our people to test and deploy and play with these technologies and gadgets, but we are always telling them fail fast and fail cheap. Learn from that failure and build on it and move to the next level. And definitely, digital transformation is facing potential challenges or risks that each and every organization moving into this domain must be vigilant and aware of those potential challenges. And I will not be specific, Isa, on the utility, because the beauty of the digital cuts across all businesses and all domains. So what applies to utility can apply to manufacturing, to apply to retail and banking sector as well. But for the interest of time, I will be specific on key potential challenges that any organization might face. The first one is the lack of business-driven digital strategy. And we have seen organizations moving into the digital transformation program and approaching that from the angle of technology deployment program. And this might be risky because you might end up with a lot of technologies and a lot of solutions, be it on-prem or in the cloud, that are not integrated, and the last mile is not achieved. And then the question about the value realization, which is what Dr. and also more have alluded to, where is the value from these digital technologies? So the absence or the lack of a clear and well-defined digital strategy that is a business-driven, value-driven, and data-driven is so critical and crucial. And my personal advice for any organization while you are testing and deploying some of these digital technologies, you have to be really clear on the end state, and that cannot be achieved without a clear strategy that maps all the components and the potential business. The second potential challenge that can face any digital transformation program is the organizational readiness. And here I mean both the execution arm, people who are deploying the technology, but also the beneficiary organization, be it your internal customers as employees or business, but also your external customers for companies who are customer-facing service providers. And it's very important and critical that we ensure proper alignment between the two in order to agree on the current maturity of the digital transformation for each and every business, be it in the core business or in the support business, have a clear roadmap and deployment programs, and have a clear alignment model, because digital people will go on progress in the deployment of the solutions. Business will be eager to see the value and the results, and that might lead into a conflict down the road. So that proper alignment and proper synergy between the business and the digital is so critical. Also, under the organizational readiness, it comes to the point of upskilling and reskilling, identifying and clearly identifying the critical skill sets that each and every organization must have in order to progress the digital transformation. But along with that, the change management program. And digital transformation, it's a fact that is impacting not only the industry, but also the way we live, the way we interact with each other. And we see that digital is going to be a core business in the near future. Actually, in some of the businesses, digital is already a core business. And that will definitely change the operating model or the way of working. And it's very important for the digital organization to have a proper, well-governed, yet agile change management program in place to enable the business to achieve the value from the digital transformation, but also to make sure that things will not fall in the crack. The last challenge that is potential to face any program is selecting your right partner and selecting the right technology. And my personal advice, don't spend much time in debating what is wrong, what is right in terms of the technology or building the architecture, because the pace of the technology is so fast. And whatever you adopt today, you might end up with a better technology in the near future. So selecting the right technology that serves the purpose, and it has to be linked back to your organizational readiness, and it has to be linked back to your digital strategy, is so critical in this transformation.
Thank you, Engineer Khalid. And as everybody is aware about it, there is no one T-shirt fit everybody, okay? And I will take what we heard from Engineer Khalid to Engineer Murhaf, how SABIC dealt with all the challenges during the last, I cannot say that 10 years, I know that SABIC engaged in digital more than that, and share with us your SABIC strategy and the way of you come over all these problems during the last 10 years, if it's possible.
Well, let me start from where Khalid has ended. Definitely, I agree with everything that he said. Looking at risks and how do we deal with it. Key area that we have looked at the beginning of the program, when we looked at the benchmark across industries, and when it mentioned that 84% of these digital transformation programs fail to deliver on the premise of the programs. So the risk at stake is so big. You need to approach the entire program in a different way. So change management definitely was the main pillars that we have built the entire program around. to make sure that we are delivering the program in a successful manner. Day zero of the program, we started with change management. Usually with our technology, historically, programs, change management kicks somewhere in the middle of the program where you start training people, educate them about the solution in place, but not this time in digital transformation. Because there is a lot of acronyms and new emerging technologies, people are still not acquainted with it. Strategy is definitely, as Khalid mentioned, without a business-driven strategy, you will not be able to really let the entire organization march with you towards the goal. So at the highest level, change management is a key one. We adopted what's called ADKAR change management methodology, which stands for the A's for awareness, the D for desire, the K for knowledge, and then the A again is for ability for people to perform their task, and then reinforcement of the change in the organization. We had to do 5 pillars of our programs built around these ones in order that we engage everybody in the organization from day zero of the program. Awareness is very key, that people understand what is the journey that we are taking and what is their role within this journey and why the change is supposed to be happening. The desire where what we're trying to achieve and why they need to be part of this one. So this was a key enabler for us at the highest level to set the program. Of course, if you talk about digital transformation, the key enablers, regardless of what technologies you are going to use, whether it is artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, blockchain, all of the technologies are revolving around data. So data was at the core of what we need to look at so that we can bring the value out of the data. The first thing that we have done is basically we structured ourselves. How are we going to get data and which data? And we managed to get data. Sometimes it's 15 years worth of data for our operations in the plant and so on. This is a gold mine that we can tap into and bring a lot of insights that will generate value at the end of the day to the business. Setting up a governance was a very important area. The governance has to touch upon every layer of the organization. So inclusion of every layer of the organization is fundamental, that will drive and will give a push to the entire organization to move forward. Also, putting a clear plan on how to retain talent, how to retain them, and also how to acquire top talent into the organization. The new emerging digital technologies require a specialized talent, especially when it comes to data scientists, fully skilled in the data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, where most of the solutions that we are adopting is basically using artificial intelligence. So how do we retain them? What program and how we develop internally, because there is a scarcity not only in the kingdom, but in the entire world. There is a scarcity in the digital experienced data scientists. So we're developing, we're shadowing, we have hired a lot of data scientists from the local universities, and we're building them through shadowing consultants who are experienced, so that we are building their capability as we go through the program, as more of an accelerated program for developing the talent. Definitely part of the risk that we have faced and we had to overcome it is the COVID lockdown. it was at the beginning of our program, but alhamdulillah, we managed to really flip the entire activity to be virtual, including engaging with consultants from around the world, virtually building solutions very specific to SABIC. This was a big success that we did not really get impacted because of the COVID-19. It was one of the biggest challenges. Also, regulatory, you need to watch for regulatory requirements, working with the different authorities within the kingdom to get, in a timely fashion, the licenses when you operate, for example, drones and so on and so forth. So that's maybe in a nutshell. Hopefully I did not take so much time.
Thank you, Engineer Morhaf. One of the things that usually we scared about it, failure. And I just heard failure. And usually everybody gets very carefully in failure, and he don't like to be associated with failure. Personally, I have a different opinion of that, but I will keep that for myself, and I will ask Dr. Mariam. With the challenges we face and the pressure we face in expediting our strategy, not only in operation or manufacturing, and even in R&D, how you are helping and enabling the organization in Saudi Arabia within your organization from R&D and from talent to come over the challenges they face in their day-by-day activity and have a fast solution, and sometimes maybe you release solution without complete verification. How you see that? And I need you just to highlight a couple of points, how the King Abdulaziz Scientific see failures and how we can learn from failures.
That's a really nice question. I think failure is important because when you fail, you learn from your mistakes, but controlled failure is key. Before rolling out solutions or new technology to the market or to big industry, you have to make sure that it is well tested in a sandbox, in a control environment, and then you predict the different scenarios that might happen. Now, there is, of course, there are going to be some unaccounted for scenarios that has not been tested, or for example, the global pandemic that suddenly happened and affected a lot of businesses and a lot of industries. So there are some scenarios that you cannot predict, but you can react to it fast and try to minimize the damage. Now, within the R&D sector, the beauty of it is that you are open to collaborating with different industries. So you work on your solution or your research idea, and then you get the chance to test it in different industries and see the behavior. So if we're talking, for example, about an AI-based algorithm, for example, okay, so one of the examples that we have developed during the COVID pandemic, the early days of it, was an AI algorithm that acts like a chatbot. So we received a request from the Ministry of Health because of the large number of calls and requests that they were receiving in terms of different symptoms people are having and how do we react. And that was really during the early stages of COVID. So the solution that was already developed internally is a chatbot, automated algorithm, that can be trained on a set of data that then can respond to whatever request it receives. So that, in a short time, we're able to train it on COVID symptoms in a way that whenever a patient or a customer calls or interact with the system and give it the symptoms, it can actually suggest the next action, whether it is to go to seek a doctor, to stay home and isolate themselves, and so on. Like, it gives you an automated response of whatever symptoms you're having. Now, within the R&D ecosystem, it is really important, or one of the challenges that we have seen before, is the alignment between the public sector, the private sector, and the academia. There has been a trend that each kind of sector acts in its own silos, while the real power would actually be when these three communities interact. So academia needs to know what sort of challenges the private sector are facing. The public sector needs to know what sort of initiative the private sector are working on to help with the regulation, with the policies that they are needed. One thing that is important when adopting digital transformation and new technologies is the policy aspect, the regulation aspect. We need to have a really good understanding of how the technology react and behave in different sectors in order to well regulate that kind of technology to facilitate the adoption in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mariam. And I will take what I learned from the team and take it to Dr. Lana with your experience in King Saudi Arabia and GCC. How you see the challenge and opportunity, and how we can be using the challenges we faced in the last 2 years, not only in Saudi Arabia, also take it to as an opportunity in the Gulf area.
All the challenges we have faced in Saudi, we have faced them worldwide, right? And not only in GCC. But definitely there was a need to be reactive and now to be more proactive. And to do this, we need to make sure that we embark on a transformation that will help us as a business act fast and be able to deliver to our customers the requirements that we have committed to. So for this perspective, as everybody has mentioned, we had lost a lot of people. We needed to ensure that we retain the good expertise. We needed to make sure that we enhance the expertise in the existing people, so building the competencies. We needed to make sure that we understand what's there today in the market. As everybody said also, the challenge is that the transformation is moving fast, and it's not a one-size-fits-all, like you said. There's not one T-shirt for everyone, right? So the most important thing is to really learn and from everyone, and try to see how we should adapt it to our own organization to make sure that the challenges that we have are being met internally as well as externally. So we partner. We have been working with partners. We've been working with consultants. We've been working internally. And the most important thing is to have the top-down approach, is to have the management committed to this change. And this is where people now, after COVID, have identified everywhere that digital transformation is key to any success, is key to any operational excellence success, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we have all the skill sets required. We need to make sure that we have all the efficient processes that will take us and move us to stay today and to adhere to any pandemic or any challenges we have had before.
Thank you, Dr. Lana. And I know, Engineer Khalid, you love opportunities and growth. And awards usually will come with risk. Taking sometimes high risk, maybe that will award you. And listening and hearing to the media and reading about this great digital companies coming to Saudi Arabia, billions and billions and opportunity all over the places. I need you just to highlight and share with the team how we can see more opportunity in the industry, not in delivering food or Amazon or something from helping the great sector that's supporting life, from electricity, from SABIC, from Aramco, keeping all this running. I'm sure 100% there is a huge opportunity. It's not explored. We never explored that in a way and highlight it to a real investment to help also to be an engine for driving digital transformation more and more in the utilities and manufacturing and the other industrial areas in the business.
Thank you, Isa, for the question. This subject is very close to my heart. So I can speak for hours, but please feel
No,
free to
only
stop
have
me.
a few minutes. You cannot have hours.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the digital transformation program should not be looked at as a technology program for the internal growth. But equally important for the external growth, digital should be looked at as a new revenue engine for the company. And we have a very ambitious program at the Saudi Electricity Company to enable the local communities, the small, medium enterprises, and the startups in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to leverage on the amount of the data that we have in the company to create new business opportunities. Specifically, we are talking about three specific areas. The first one is the incremental commercialization, and this is where startup communities and small medium enterprises can benefit from the fast data that we have in terms of the insights from the data. Second category or second area is the differential commercialization, where we are very serious in collaborating with the local companies and international companies to package products and services around the data that we have and enable our customers to have more access and more agile insights to their utility services. But also we are going beyond the meter and establish collaboration with local entities to make sure that we have the potential to enable services around the utility business. Globally, utility businesses are known, and that's the traditional classical way of selling power and electricity, but the entire world is moving towards more connected energy company, and this is the direction that we are moving on. This is an integral part of our local content program in the company to enable the Saudi citizens as well as the local and the startup communities to do more. It's very important for any company that's moving in digital transformation to acknowledge the fact that no one has it all. And this is why we need to collaborate internally, collaborate with partners and technology owners, collaborate with academia and institutions, but also collaborate with people who are in the venturing mindset. And in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, under the Vision 2030, we as Saudis are very proud of what is happening in the kingdom. Transformation across all industries, across all businesses, and this is of great opportunity to each and every company in the kingdom, as well as to our local startup communities to create products and services digitally enabled that will touch some of the services that we do in the company. So this is very integral of what we do, and this is the future, and we are committed to make that happen, inshallah.
Thank you, Engineer Khalid. And taking the opportunity that we believe it's a big, I will direct my questions to Dr. Mariam, how you can encourage, the utilities, the private business, the international company to do more investment in digital to enable the digital transformation more and more across all our businesses. What's actually the role that the R&D or King Abdulaziz Scientific City can add here, especially with the new announcement of the opportunity of garage, which is, I believe, it's an enabler for all this new, and I believe for the small and medium company, they will have a great growth opportunity and be part of the ecosystem of making this area a fast track to our economic in the kingdom.
Exactly. So R&D is really the core of all operations. We need to encourage the R&D within institutions and across all sectors, because this is where real innovation comes from. In terms of the connection between companies, the academia, and the public or private sector, there is need to be more synergy and communication between these three sectors. So, for example, as a researcher or as someone working in a research institute, I need to have clear understanding and vision in terms of what are the core challenges that the private sector are facing. What sort of data are available to them, and what sort of opportunities that we can actually foresee in the future that we can capitalize on. Now, the data has been named as the new oil. So we have huge amounts of data coming from different sources, from sensors, from satellite, from telecom data, and so on. But the issue is, what do you do with all this data? How do you generate value? How do you generate insight? And nowadays, there has been a huge improvement in terms of how organizations process their internal data. But if we think outside the box, how do you link your own customer data or company data with other sources? For example, with other competitors, with other data from other sectors. Now, this is where a real value and new business model might be created in terms of integration of different sources of data. Now, to do that, you need multiple things. You need the computational power to process all of these data. You need to formulate the data in a way that you're able to actually structure it and analyze it. And you need to have the minds, the intelligence in order to come up with innovative solutions. And as I said before, so institutions are under a lot of pressure in terms of time, money that's spent on research. However, if you are in more of an R&D environment, you're on a less pressure in terms of like generating money right away, because you're in the previous stages. You have more freedom to experiment, to do sandboxing, to go innovative. And that's the link where the idea of the garage that was announced earlier in February is to provide that ecosystem. So you have the national labs, the research labs, located next to the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So you get people with smart ideas that are eager to test and create and have access to tools and infrastructure, and link them to the industry, who can come to them and tell them, we have these kind of challenges or problems. Please see what you can do with it. Like, go crazy, experiment, and we're happy to accept the solution once it's ready. So the linkage between the entrepreneurship, the innovation aspect, the private sector that have the real challenges that they want to face in the future, they want to solve in the future, sorry, and the researcher, the environment that facilitate and embrace the research in terms of tools, infrastructure needed, and guidance as well. So these are the three components that actually will help create new innovative ideas and new solutions for the future.
Thank you, Dr. Mariam. And I will move to Engineer Morhaf. SABIC is an international company. It's not just a local or regional. And that's giving you a special position that can add more to the country, because you see what's going on globally. Yeah. You are in touch day by day with different customers globally. You see what they are doing in digital transformation and their ideas. Personally, I see SABIC can be a great incubators to bring things from outside to the kingdom. Can you share some ideas or what SABIC are doing in this domain?
Certainly, maybe it's very important that I mention that the strategy, digital strategy for the company, has multiple verticals. I mean, like manufacturing, the business themselves, the R&D, the procurement, the HR, the finance. Those are verticals within the strategy itself. And for each one of them, there is a set of initiatives that will bring business value to them. The ninth vertical is what we call new business models, which is creating digital ventures and creating a new revenue stream for the company. And we are very methodological around how we do it within the company, and we have been doing several of those, and there is a good success. We are still in the journey, and we do it with not a random ideas, but a very structured, what we call innovation sprint. We do like 14 weeks of innovation sprint, creating a lot of ideas around certain parts of our business. And then there is a board for that, would review all these ideas, and then select some of them that would take to the next level. So we'll take something like 5 ideas. Those are investable ideas that you can take and invest on them. Once they are approved, they move into another phase. It's called Incubation Phase. And this phase, we do what's called, in the digital world, a minimal viable product, where we create the initial schema for the product and how it looks as a full solution. Not a full-fledged features, but at least the core of those ideas. And once that is approved to be really bringing the value, we move into the third phase, which is commercialization. And in commercialization, of course, that would be appearing to the public, and you will see those solutions. We have a lot on the pipeline, so that's what I can say.
Thank you, Engineer Murhaf, but just this is an additional question that I don't see SABIC is communicating that to outside enough. Are you planning to share more to the public to encourage more young generation to work in these ideas? Maybe.
Well, certainly there is a structure about it and how you go about it. But the minute you really bring it to the public, we are a listed company, so nothing comes to the public unless it's approved. It goes through the proper channels in order for those to be shared. So incubation is incubation. You don't talk about incubation until it is out to the public. So I would say that this is a fundamental part of what we're doing in digital transformation. And certainly we're not blind spotted at this particular area. But hopefully something would be shared in the future.
Thank you, Engineer Murhaf. And NOMAC is a private company. It's in local and in the, also I believe you're working in Middle East. And can we use your experience in digital transformation to be the big brother or the big sister and role model for the small and medium companies in the kingdom? And if you have a good example, please share it with us. If not, how we can do that?
Yes, of course. So, like you said, NOMAC is a private company. It's a local company, a Saudi company, but we are present in over 10 countries, not only in the Middle East, but in Africa and Asia.
Great.
So basically, there are lots of good digital initiatives that we have taken. I can talk myself from a monitoring and prediction center. Today, we do have over 8 gigawatts of power plants connected, where we basically monitor the assets. We identify the anomalies, we predict any failures before they happen. We have a good communication system with the site team as well as with the project companies who owns the assets to kind of identify to them what we're seeing. In addition to this, we have an engineering team as SMEs that helps also with coming up with the right solution or mitigation action that needs to be taken in order to mitigate those failures before they happen. That's one of the examples we have. We have been really leading this since 2017, and the journey is continuing. Today, we're not only limited to the monitoring and prediction center. We actually, like Engineer Murhaf has mentioned, we also have now a complete digital vertical that focuses a lot on what needs to happen to help the operation of Aqua Power to be more flexible and to be able to grow faster. So we have done exactly the same. We have done a lot of use cases, identified a lot of use cases from every function, whether it is finance, whether it's people and culture, whether it's technology. We work very closely with the innovation team, and at the same time, we've been basically now implementing what we call MVPs or pilots to be able to identify the success of these pilots. Once they are succeeding and once we see the value generated as expected, we will be moving into what we call the industrialization. So the same principle is actually happening and it's taking place. The most important thing, Isa, is really to have the right data. I think this is something that we have not even shed the light on. Data is king. Like cash is king, data is also king. Without the right data, without a healthy data, we cannot do anything from a digital transformation perspective. So the most important thing is to see how you have this data, how well is your data, where your data is being located, how you can build on top. You don't want to use today one solution. We're using now many startups. We're not focusing on only one partner. We're using many partners because we want to make sure that we can build as much as possible artificial intelligence solutions that will help us drive this transformation and make sure that these solutions can talk to each other, that we can enhance the efficiency of our processes, not only in one area, but in many areas. This is key, and to have a platform where all this data is being connected, whether it's structured data or unstructured data, this is the key to any success of digital transformation, because without data, we cannot have anything.
Thank you, Dr. Lana. I think data need a full conference to talk about it, because I'm sure 100% working closely with Engineer Murhaf, I know that they have tons of data. With the smart meters, they have great data. Also in King Abdulaziz Centex, they have a huge data. Data, I believe, is not utilized well enough. I think we need and actually data is the real investment in this domain and can generate and help to take this business to the next level. I think I got some indication that we have only 12 to 15 minutes more, and I would like to utilize this time to ask each one of my colleagues here about their main learning in their experience in their current job, and what they achieved, and what's their advice, the next step, and where we can focus in our next step. And I will start with Dr. Mariam, if you don't mind. Just go ahead.
Thank you, Isa. I think from R&D perspective, one of the main challenges that we sometimes face is having a strong connection with the private sector, with the industry sectors, the different sectors in the industry. One of the important aspects that we need to strengthen is the relationship between the public-private sector and the R&D. In terms of the fourth industrial revolution or the new technologies, so we're hosting the Center of Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is affiliated with the World Economic Forum. And the mandate for that center, which is hosted in Saudi Arabia, is to facilitate that dialogue between all sectors and link it with the global network, with the C4IR centers around the world, so in San Francisco, in Japan, in Africa and Europe, and so on. And the idea is to share experiences, to share success stories, challenges faced locally with the global community, and sort of learn from each other. Whatever challenges in adoption of digital transformation or 4IR technologies that we're facing here, it is also similar, or it is aligned with challenges that are faced somewhere else in the world. So it's very important to link to the local community across all sectors and link to the global community as well, because at the end of the day, We might have our own local challenges and culture and environment, but in many cases there are great similarities in terms of the challenges of the adoption of the technologies across the world, across different sectors.
Thank you, Dr. Mariam. And I will move to Engineer Khalid to highlight the main learning and the advice for the attendees here.
Well, a few things to share with the audience. The first one is, back to my earlier point, is to have a clear business-driven digital strategy. That's so crucial and so critical for any organization to make sure that we move at speed with this. We need to consider also the human capital, identify the critical skills that each and every organization is in need of, and work internally to upskill and reskill some of the workforce, but also be open to other ways of collaboration in terms of collaboration with academic, collaboration with institutions, as with partners. We are not short of data, and we are not short of technology, and we are not short of people, talent. But when we put those three together, we really expect a new outcome. And digital is an enabler for that. Digital is powering the operational excellence and is powering the digital technologies and transformation that is happening around us. In the Saudi Electricity Company, we have identified digital transformation program as a key enabler for our business strategy that cuts across all the businesses in the company. And as Dr. Mariam mentioned, data is new oil, and I see digital is a new coal. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Khalid. I will ask Dr. Lana, what's your main learning during this, your experience?
I just wanted to conclude by saying digital transformation is an opportunity for operational excellence. Digitizing a task does not mean that you're transforming the traditional way you're doing things. It's very important that you look at the digital transformation from a holistic perspective. You need to make sure that you balance competencies, people, technology, and process. It's very important to succeed is to make sure that you have a full strategy that will be developed and tailored for your own organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It should go beyond the technology choice, and it should focus purely on your vision and definition and the objectives that you're looking for. It has to take into consideration leadership, culture, and governance. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lana. We'll go finally to Engineer Murhaf.
Well, thank you. This is maybe a summary of our learning. Maybe as an advice, the best thing you do is basically you start with a strategy, digital strategy for the company or the organization you are doing is a must to be able to really succeed in your journey. Otherwise, you are going to follow technology alone, which will take you nowhere. So having a strategy, digital strategy at the beginning is very important. Part of the digital strategy is understanding where is your digital maturity. So at the beginning, we had to do a benchmark where we stand across our industry as well as other industries. What is our digital maturity as of today? And then where are we going as a digital maturity in the company? And in between, you will have to identify those initiatives, business initiatives, that will take you through this journey. And you have to continually measure where your maturity is moving, the needle, how is it moving year by year as you implement those programs. So you would know if you are missing the path. Also linking with the strategy, basically what would be your EBITDA impact at the end of the day. So you have to identify what would be the financial gains for the company. It's not only implementation, but also financial gain of the company because of implementing such a program. Other learnings that are very important, change management, awareness specifically is very important because you need to get the entire organization to rally with the program. Otherwise, you have solutions, but nobody's going to use. The digital transformation is unlike anything that we have done in the IT world in the past. It's not like a specific system that you use. It's mostly insights. If you use them, you create value. It's not something that you enter data into, because most of the solutions are already cracked the data and gave you insight from the business, from these data, in order for you to take a decision, rather than somebody is going to key data in a particular system. And this is very important pillar of the entire thing. I've talked before about the really building the talent. You have the ability to bring consultants, to build solutions, and so on, but if you don't build your own talent in-house so that they can maintain and take the organization to the next level, then certainly this is going to be a very challenging task for the organization. Dealing with the data at the beginning will prevent you from being delayed as you embark on the different initiatives. The infrastructure and the data upfront is a must. Otherwise, each initiative would encounter a delay just because, oh, our data is not ready. So that's a fundamental area. If you do it up front, you are going to have a nice ride with the program. Of course, there are a lot of risks that appear in every program like this, so you need to deal with them. Very important to deal and have a close contact with the legal, governance, compliance, and the cyber security. Those has to be always in the wagon as you move with the program. Otherwise, you could be stopped because any of those risks that could stop you because of who's supposed to see that data or who's allowed to do that, or maybe there's a compliance issue and so on. So that's maybe in a nutshell what I would say.
Thank you, Engineer Morhaf, and thank you for everyone attending this session, and thank you for SWCC and the organizer to allow us to be part of this great discussion. And finally, I will thank Engineer Khalid Al-Ghamdi for accepting to be part of this panel, and Dr. Mariam Nouh to be part of this, and Dr. Lana Sha'ar and Morhaf Madani, Engineer Morhaf Madani to be part of it. And thank you. And I hope that you enjoy it and learned something, and you are taking something back to your organization, and you can implement some of these ideas in your life, in personal or in your personal company or organization. Good luck and have a great day today. Thank you.
شكرا للمتحدثين ولمدير هذه الجلسة. أدعو الآن إلى المسرح الأستاذة منال الماضي، وهي مديرة إدارة تطوير الشراكات في المؤسسة العامة لتحلية المياه المالحة، لتقديم تكريم إلى ضيوف هذه الجلسة الحوارية. الجلسة كانت تحت عنوان دور التحول الرقمي والابتكارات في التميز التشغيلي للمنشآت، والتكريم للرئيس التنفيذي الرقمي لشركة سابك المهندس مرهف المدني. ومع كل الشكر والتقدير والتحية، هذا التكريم لنائب رئيس مركز التميز في شركة نوماك في الإمارات العربية المتحدة الدكتورة لنا الشعار. مع كل الشكر والتحية والتقدير، هذا التكريم للعضو المنتدب لمركز الثورة الصناعية الرابعة في المنتدى الاقتصادي العالمي الدكتورة مريم نوح. مع كل الشكر، هذا التكريم لنائب رئيس أول لتقنية المعلومات والتحول الرقمي في الشركة السعودية للكهرباء المهندس خالد الغامدي. ومع كل الشكر والتحية والتقدير، هذا تكريم لمدير هذه الجلسة، نائب أول الرئيس ومدير موقع شركة وورلي الهندسية، المهندس عيسى عقيلي. كما نقدم تكريمين خاصين لاثنين من المشاركين في هذا المؤتمر الذين أثروا المؤتمر بورشات العمل التي أقاموها، وكان لحضورهم إضافة كبيرة لهذا المؤتمر. يسعدنا أن نكرم مدير عام التميز المؤسسي في المؤسسة العامة لتحلية المياه المالحة، الأستاذ سلمان ابن داود. وذلك نظير إقامته لورشة بعنوان التميز المؤسسي والقيمة المستدامة. كما نقدم هذا التكريم الخاص أيضا لمدير عام الأكاديمية السعودية للمياه، الدكتور فواز الغامدي. كل الشكر والتحية والتقدير للدكتور فواز، والذي قدم ورشة بعنوان أفضل ممارسات التدريب والتطوير في قطاع المياه. التحايا دائما والشكر لكل من يشارك في هذه الجلسات، ولكل من يقدم إضافة لهذا الملتقى، ولكل الحاضرين والمشاركين والجمهور الحاضر. ندعوكم الآن إلى استراحة قصيرة، وبعدها نواصل الجلسات الحوارية لمؤتمر التميز التشغيلي. كونوا